Yo, what up? This is Janal, host of Black Lives Anti-Matter Cypher Series, bringing you real conversation from an intellectual standpoint. We look forward to hearing your feedback. If you have any suggestions or anything that you would like to offer, feel free to add on. Peace. They call me Janal. I'm going to be your host for today. And to my left, I'm going to allow everybody else to introduce themselves.
What up, yo? It's Miles Ja, 23-year-old engineer. Pleasure to be here. I'm here, honestly, repping the youth. I feel like this is something that the youth needs to see, something that African Americans across the world need to see, a group of strong black males having a good dialogue. So, yeah, pleasure to be here.
No doubt. It's Uncle Vu, entrepreneur, activist. Come here so we can get some light shed on some topics that need to be discussed. Hopefully get some resolution. If not, at least get the pot stirred and get some thoughts out there, because that's where it starts at. Get some thoughts going, then we can get some positive action as well. So I'm just glad to be a part of the cipher.
Peace, what's going on? My name's 7 Mil. I'm here to empty some of these thoughts out my head, man, share with my brothers. The panel is amazing. The perspective should be awesome. Check us out.
Sasan Keyhall. I'm just here to share my perspective. I'm still like drawing artist, a photographer, recording artist, illustrator, I'm a creator. I'm just here to share my thoughts, man. That's it.
Peace.
Let's go.
All right, so what we starting with? Where we at?
First topic that we gonna jump right into it, man. Genocide. Like some of us up here lived long enough to see various eras, crack eras. You know what I mean? Heroin, that is shit. I mean, our perspective is way more intense. You know what I mean? But I want to hear from everybody. You know what I mean? If possible, on the topic of genocide and what you've seen and experienced and what your outlook may be.
So starting with the definition of
You
it.
gonna define it?
Yeah, the definition. The definition of genocide: the deliberate killing of a large group of people, especially those of a particular ethnic group or nation. So I'm gonna just start off by saying, is that something that we have all witnessed? Are we seeing that? Are we on the same page with that?
And before you get started with the question, I believe it's important. Let everybody know one of the reasons we actually starting about the topic, like we talked about privately, is because we believe that that's actually the condition. I don't believe it's a lot of other the pretty words we get and a lot of the flowery phrases. We believe that we are under that serious genocidal attack. That's our position. So that's why we're opening up with that, just for a little background.
Thank you very much for explaining that.
We being African Americans, right?
We being African Americans initially, and then common folk in general.
Indigenous people worldwide.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I got a question. The genocide, maybe some people are looking for that to be more identifiable through physical means outside of the mental attack that we're under as well.
Yeah, see, that's the challenge that I see. Like, if you haven't seen it or experienced it for yourself, it's hard receiving that from somebody trying to explain it to you.
There's levels to it, right?
You know what I mean? Even me and my son and I, we had these conversations, and I know, based on having not seen certain things, it's hard to really grasp it. It's like if I'm talking to somebody that been to Vietnam, they tell me all kind of crazy stories. You know what I'm saying? And I can visualize it in my head, but it don't compare to what they experienced and seen.
Indeed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if you live long enough in our city, man, it's no doubt that it's a genocide. We got chemical warfare, psychological warfare, biological warfare. Do you see the same conditions?
And now we have the actual warfare.
Right.
We're actually being attacked.
And you see the same conditions all over the world, and you see who's exercising that against us, and we not even allowed to even speak on it in 2020 without.
Let's just call them the people in the high tower.
Yeah.
For lack of better.
So you believe that is why we're getting a lot of the combustion that we get now, a lot of that's taking place, actual protest, the actual, physicality of it, the spirit of it, it seems like the people is just enough is enough, or is it just you think a knee-jerk reaction?
What kind of reaction?
Like just a knee-jerk, somebody smack you, just smack them back. You know, they kick you, you just want to, or you think it's,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
wanna handle that one?
is that you think that's in there?
Yeah.
The fact that they feel like that's coming on them, you know, that genocidal attack, that's, you know, or do we feel like it's just, you know, part of the process? You know, something happened, we react.
Oh, what a
Something
concept.
happened, we react. What do you think?
I do think it's like a test.
You think it's what?
Like a test.
I think so.
reaction.
Yeah.
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 I think that's what it is. They just want to test us or whatever because genocide is altering a whole race of people.
Right.
Or group.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not like, you know, because they're dying too. So
Yeah, but not
they're
at
not
the.
altering us at all.
Speak louder. Into the mic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my perspective. I mean, I think it's actually like a combination of both.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got people who share a similar perspective to what some of us share, and then you got people who are just going to move because it's a movement. You know what I'm saying? I think it all has to be, you know, galvanized nonetheless, and maybe even directed or guided to what we needed to do, or what we, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was just curious because, and do me a favor, could you give me the definition again?
Absolutely.
Because you know me, I'm a wordsmith. I like to dig in it sometimes.
Right.
And
'cause you
pull it
know,
out syllable by syllable.
the
So
deliberate killing.
Stop. Can we agree that the killing that we have gone through and are going through currently, previously,
Mm-hmm.
right, and maybe in the
Futuristically.
future, is it deliberate or by accident?
That's definitely deliberate.
Right.
Yeah.
It's agenda
All right.
driven.
For sure.
Check. Next.
All right. The deliberate killing of a large group of people.
So we are a large group of people. We got that. That goes without saying. We 40 million. Check.
Especially those of a particular ethnic group or nation.
Check.
Uh-oh.
Stop. Brakes.
Uh-oh.
Stop.
You might have some
Okay,
division
give me
there.
that one
This
more
is really-
time. Especially.
Especially those of a particular ethnic group or nation.
Right. So
Yes.
now, let me say this before we get into it. It's not that we're not saying that other groups have not been or may not be or may not have been. But particularly, we're talking about does this fit the bill? Because now we're talking about a particular group. Right? We can know that there are all types of groups around us and amongst us. Right? But when you understand something's not even, we talking about, I think, something that's being left out in it, but you to me, you have to assume it because this has to be something that's systematic when you're talking about a large group. Because somebody can do something to you individually and it may not affect you, in that manner. But we're talking about a large group. So we're talking about something that has to be at least some part systemic or at least systematic in there.
That's right.
It ain't by happenstance.
That's
it ain't
right.
by accident.
That's
It ain't
damn
because
true.
somebody don't just like
It's
you.
deliberate.
Or nothing like that. Exactly.
Oh, there's definitely.
Right. So, with that being said, I'm sorry, did we finish the definition?
Oh yeah, that was it.
All right. So we clear on that one. That's what's happening now. So that's what we definitely want to know when we get to.
We need to stop coming up with other words for this is about the only word that describe what I've seen since I've been born.
Well-
Living through the crack era and everything else.
Genocide.
Straight
and
up
that-
genocide.
And it's okay for us to understand that because once you get it, then you can respond.
Now we can move
right?
accordingly.
Instead of react. Because if I know somebody's doing something to me deliberately instead of intentionally, then my reaction is or my response is different.
Right.
When it's deliberate, I have to make a plan. Right? I have to respond. That's
Right.
where the word
It's not an
responsibility is
accident.
coming from.
So with that said, we ain't no longer, at least I ain't no longer accepting apologies. I just want to make that clear. You know what I mean? It's a wrap for that.
Right. So, and we now, I don't know if now we went into what it is, and it's happening. Y'all want to get into the why?
Why?
Briefly?
Yeah.
Why y'all think? Because there's a lot of notions out there as far as why this particular group
I'll be the
may be
elephant.
attacked.
Yeah, I'll be the elephant in the room.
You know us.
All right.
You
Let's
know,
go,
there's a lot
Will.
of things out there as far as why that might be happening.
Yeah, I'll be the elephant in the room. I mean, the black man has been constantly deemed as public enemy number one since the conception of this nation. So why wouldn't we still be under attack when everybody wants to occupy our position in the universe?
So why was he deemed, you think, the number one, public enemy number one.
Or because lies had to be created and truths had to be covered.
By whom?
You know what I mean? By the oppressor. I mean, I don't know how liberal we're going to be with this.
Hey, I'm all in. I just been kind of, you know what I mean,
keep it,
setting the tone to see how far y'all want to go in. But I'm all in.
I'm ready to drop curse words and everything.
Hey,
man.
look,
But
I'm all
on some
in.
real
We gotta
shit.
keep it peaceful. We gotta keep it. We do want to, just in case we get a younger audience, we want to be able to digest it.
Right, my daughter might watch this.
Right, exactly. You know,
So I have a question. I have a question.
yes, sir.
Would it be safe to say, like, okay, if we're under genocide and this is the deliberate killing of especially an ethnic group, is it safe to say that since our group is not technically all the way killed, are we even under genocide? Like, we're still standing
well, that's
strong?
that's the actuality of it. You know, it's not. It's a process. Right.
It's a so that's my question.
Right,
Like,
right.
is it a
Genocide
process
is not
or is
like
it
once
just
it's done.
boom? Yeah, okay.
Right. You know,
I got you.
Exactly.
You know,
So this is going on now. It can take part in stages.
I got you.
Because in reality, I forgot who actually said it. You know, we moved from he said we moved from certain areas until we got to genocidal. Attack because
Right.
we went from slavery. You know what I mean? We got free out of this thing, quote unquote. Right. We started building, got reconstructed. They ain't like the build. You was building too fast. We got to tear it down. And I'm moving fast. But this stuff we'll talk about in other ciphers as far as historically how that thing went.
Yeah.
Back to the why part, right? As to why it went down the way it did. A lot of people have a lot of theories. But back to your question, so you're right. And that's the key, as you want to see has it happened in other groups, right? Because, like you say, it could just be something in your imagination. You're thinking it might not be happening to you, really. But let's take history. Other groups have been wiped out. We know about groups of Native Americans that have been wiped
Right,
out.
absolutely.
We know about groups of other indigenous people
Australian
around the globe,
Aborigines.
right? The Australian Aborigines.
Ireland.
That their end result had been genocide, right?
Right,
And then, too, with us, don't get me wrong, and paint a picture of course, this is the deliberate attack. That means somebody's coming against you. However, too, what's going on now, unfortunately, is that we are aiding and abetting.
Uh-oh.
Right? So, right,
Yeah.
you say, uh-oh, because I'm moving a little ahead. It is another topic for another time,
I'm with you on that
possibly.
one,
But
Dre.
I mean, to a degree.
Aiding and abetting.
Right, to a degree, we're co-conspirators.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
got
in
you,
our
right.
own demise.
Which is
to a
a
degree.
big part of the genocide.
And that's the part,
Uh-huh.
right, and that's the part we had to self-examine and take responsibility for before
Absolutely.
we even start angling out. But that don't mean don't identify, because then they play the game like because we kill each other, it's all right for cops to kill us.
Right,
No,
right,
we got to
right.
keep that separately. Let's keep together the fact that we dying, getting killed by whichever faction, but don't start playing the game about because they doing it.
Let's
or
not
they
even
doing
confuse the issues, man.
Absolutely.
If
I
you
got
feel like black
Exactly.
people
So-
can do better, why put that on Front Street at the time when we getting killed at our most rapid rate? We can have that conversation.
Absolutely.
We've been having that conversation.
And then they don't come like you concerned. Like you
Right.
saying in an accusatory
challenge,
manner.
like a conversation.
If anything,
Right,
I
right,
want you to
right,
come in a concerned manner if you're really serious about that.
Right.
Don't come in a manner condemning.
But we
and
shouldn't
then
even have to defend that. Black people
Well,
been
yeah.
having candlelight vigils, murals painted on every corner. Since when we not been concerned about the murders and the killings in our community, that got to be a defense or a buffer towards what's happening with the police and the
Just a
militarized
cloak,
forces in
man.
our communities. Like, why we even got to, it shouldn't even be a conversation.
I would even say it's like a cloak for it, man. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it just excuses the pestilence.
Right. Not to mention, that's the same excuse that they use. If you watch any movie about a colonizer, the first thing they always say is they're savages. They kill each other,
Well, they had
so
to-
we going into civilized.
Well, they had to
They've been using the
justify.
Well, they have
same
to be,
justify.
and-
excuse.
Yeah.
The murder.
But I think I like your point because it's kind of forward thinking. And then, too, that's the other thing as group. See, like you said, it ain't happened, but as a group, you gotta be forward thinking. You can't wait till it happens. You
Oh,
gotta
for sure,
see that
for
it's
sure.
coming,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
And see that angle, and then be like, all right, what point are we? You know what I mean? Are we 40% close to this thing
Yep.
happening? 60% close to this thing happening? You know, and that's when it start getting real. Because right now we acting like it ain't happening.
Right, it's not.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's not gonna benefit us here and you as young men,
Absolutely.
right? To not look at the issue and not at least deal with it head on. Because the key with any threat is you want to neutralize it or eliminate it.
Yep.
Right, and then we're gonna get, we'll get to that later. But the back to the how, I mean the why. I agree with, like we agree. It's just from historically we've been hunted. Historically we've been, that person. Now other groups, see, and that's where it gets tricky in America, because other groups will jump on the bandwagon and they'll be like, we've been persecuted too.
Hell of a segue.
We've been persecuted as well, and that may be accurate.
One hell of a segue,
right?
Yeah.
That's accurate, because other groups have been persecuted, in this United States of America and abroad.
Right.
No
Right.
doubt about it.
Right.
But let's get it right. Let's identify it correctly.
Absolutely.
Let's put them in all, in their places properly so we can deal with
Absolutely,
it.
for sure.
And too many times we subjugate or we relegate ours to somebody else's experience, right?
That's
and,
right.
and then they take over that whole thing, and we've still left with the same bucket.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you another question. So earlier when I said is it specific to I don't even want to say black people, but is it specific to our group? And you said also the common people. So in what ways do they differentiate? Why with the common people genocide? Why? From who?
I think you gotta go back to the historical content.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's always been that way here.
Yep. Ever since
so-
they got here.
Right. So we can't take the position because we live in nicer parts of town.
Yeah.
We have nicer incomes coming to our. We may have escaped certain conditions, but the position of being black in America hasn't changed in centuries. You know what I'm saying? So like Vu was saying, systemically, it has to continue so the people in the high tower can stay in the high tower. And for me, it's just that simple.
Yeah.
You got to protect your gate,
If you steal something, you got to play a certain game in accordance with the fact that you stole something. And
So
the
you
more
trying to
valuable that which you stole is, the more heavily you got to be invested in that game.
You trying to take me places, son?
They stole a whole continent. You know what I mean? Several all over the globe, and somehow that get glazed over. It
ain't
is
somehow.
repercussions,
Who keeping the manuals?
right?
Who writing the history?
Right, which
It
is
ain't
why
by
we're here
mistake.
now. You know what I mean?
It ain't by mistake.
But so, so it's like that whole thing need to be rewritten, man.
So and then to your question about how it ties in with the common folks, like our plague in general, because we all about humanity, and that's what a lot of our leaders have been about. When you look at King, when you look at X and his progression, right? They start talking about humanity as a whole, black folks in general, because it's only let's deal with it, because people like to, so we're clear on that, and I'm loving the line of the question, because let's deal with just anything, cats, right? In the jungle, they say we all humans, and that's true. We are human beings, but like there are cats. You got a cat family. You got leopards, lions, panthers, right? So if your group is getting attacked and extinct, right, and you ain't getting help from the other cats.
Yeah. Yeah.
You ain't got time to be talking about we all cats and let's be cool and we're going, nah, you got to protect your group, right?
Yeah.
Now the cats that's down with you, then we
Right.
down, right?
Right.
Right, so in the human family, it's worked similar ways, we got to recognize the fact that if you're not for your group initially, how can you really be for somebody else? That's the other game we got to
Facts.
stop playing with each other, right? Like you guys, charity, the book, those of us that's a Christian, those of us that's Muslim, however you believe, tells you charity starts at home, then spread abroad. And then just common sense factors. How can I trust you or believe you if you don't love yourself and yours? How I'm going to
Absolutely.
get any real love from you,
Absolutely.
That's powerful.
Absolutely. And I think that's such a good point because he always says, like, we're just naturally a giving people, like a caring, loving, thoughtful people, and that's kind of a small fraction of the reason why we're kind of in the position we are.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
So it is important to address it first within ourselves, and
Indeed.
you know what I mean? So this way we can direct the love and the kindness the right way once we
Absolutely.
move on to the common people and fix it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We better learn how to hate. 'Cause we hating anyway, so we might as well learn how to use that science correctly.
What? That's
You know
a
what I'm
bad
saying?
word, but you're right. What the book say? What the book
Hey,
say?
do I need to look up
What
the
it say? What
definition of hate?
I think you should. I think you should treat the
What it
people.
say? He said,
I think you should treat the people.
He talked about two of the sons, one I love, one I hated. Esau
Right,
I love,
right.
but the other one I hated.
We better learn how to use that magic because they using it against us. They got us using it against
I
each other.
remember who said that a while ago. I think it was, I don't know if it was Farrakhan, somebody talking about hating intelligently.
Yeah, we know
Right.
how to love. We good at that. We stroking killers in courtrooms and hugging them. You know what I mean?
Oh man,
Come
Trev,
on,
cut it
man.
out,
We
man.
good at love. We done proved that we can love.
You love the
And
person
that,
that
and,
love
and,
to
and
hate
just
something.
for
Kills
the
your blood,
general,
brother.
we're talking about hating
That's what you talking
concept,
about.
not an individual. We're talking about hating activity, right?
hating
no, I'm
individuals,
saying
too.
I'm saying then we identify the individuals that had that activity.
Oh yeah. I ain't hating
We
just
don't
to be
just, we ain't,
hating.
right, we
Hate
ain't
is
just
like
jumping
fire,
out.
man.
Right, you ain't just jumping out an individual. We're talking about
You can't
those
be
that
haphazard with it.
right, those that have certain activities.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
Right.
fire. You can cook a good meal with it.
And that's why he's on
You
the
can purify. You can destroy with it. You know what I mean? So this the definition of hate, yo.
Yeah, man. That's why he's on Kufu.
Feel intense or passionate dislike.
I got a lot of stuff I got that for.
Come on, man.
Poverty.
The
I hate poverty.
I hate right. Come
Right.
on, man.
Excuse
Give
me.
it to
That's
me.
a
What
lot
else?
of things
What
I
else?
got
I hate-
intense
You know what I mean?
dislike for.
I hate
you
having
know,
a
I
lack
would
of nationality.
Absolutely. I hate our
You know what I'm saying?
powerlessness as a group
You know what
and
I
our
mean?
misuse of power
Right.
as a group.
I hate the fact that if I move the wrong way, you might shoot me.
Word.
Something wrong with me if I don't hate that, yo.
Absolutely.
And something wrong with me if I don't hate you for not hating that, for loving that. Cause see, that's their problem. They know how to hate like we know how to love. They the ones need to learn how to love. Stop telling me I need to learn how to love. Stop telling me I don't need to be emotional. Something wrong with you if you ain't feeling no emotion. Now, if you talking about balancing it and controlling it, that's a different conversation. But it's time to stop being scared of certain elements that we need to wake us up out of this nightmare. And hatred is one of them. If you ain't hating what you seeing going on towards indigenous people, towards our people, towards black people, towards non-white people,
And you're
something
simply
wrong,
not
man.
alive.
Something wrong, man. I ain't out here to play no games. I appreciate y'all protesting and all that. But it's a lot of people riding that bandwagon. And you ain't really feeling the pain that we feeling, man. Seeing our whole family drop one by one. You know what I mean? Seeing all our loved ones drop one by one, whether it's through something in the streets, whether it's through some crazy disease and these crazy doctors and how they treat us. These legal shit. Yo, this shit is out of control right now.
Or very much in control.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
To be specific about it.
Right.
Yeah, depending on who angle you at.
So I'll tell
Absolutely.
you what I hate. I hate the concept that I gotta look at young brothers like my man here, Haas, Miles, and know that the world already hates them, man. You know what I'm saying? Know that the world already wants to see them oppressed and held down, and they can't, phoenix into what they are meant to be. You know what I'm saying? I hate the fact that I gotta raise my kids and tell my kids certain ways that you gotta deal with people of authority when you come across them. You know what I mean? That's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and it's, it's real. It's, there's both sides as far as dealing just with the concept. It's both sides. I mean, it's real. You gotta have them. It's night and day. Love and hate. The law of polarity.
balance,
Both
right,
of them
right.
exist. How you use them. It's like any tool. You gotta use them intelligently.
Same
You
people
know?
telling me not to hate, teaching me how to hate myself. And been
About
teaching me
this,
how
right.
to hate
Right,
myself.
and they showing you that they hate you as well.
Absolutely.
Right.
And
You know
that's
what I'm saying?
that's only a fool. Like the Bush, they said we taught his kids. They were talking about that concept. Well, I'm teaching my kids just how to love everybody, and that's fine if the other people are teaching their children the same thing. However, if
Right.
they're not,
Right.
your child's at a disadvantage.
Come on, man. They taking their kids to the
So-
range. We grown and some of us ain't even been to the range yet.
Word life.
They got ranges in their high schools.
Got
Come
a lot
on,
of shit in
man.
their high schools that we don't have.
Right.
You know what I mean? They got TV shows where they show that they're still tradesmen, yet they took that out of our schools.
Right. They took
You
that.
understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
They replace it with nursing programs and stuff like that. No shade.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But there's nothing to feed the masculine aspect of our future.
Right.
If everybody's not going to be a doctor, everybody's not going to be a lawyer. You know what I mean? There's nobility in all of the trades. But they take that away from us. And they get themselves TV shows
And the question was why, right? Because if you remove God from the equation, you know what I mean, you got man, woman, and child. That's the sacred equation. So the idea is divide and conquer. You divide the woman against the man against the woman, man being the protector, you get him out of the picture. This is basic war strategy. Are you left with the woman and the children? And that's our community. That's what they did to us, fam.
Word.
This ain't
Absolutely.
no game being played.
So I got two questions.
Indeed. For sure.
My first question is, what point is going to galvanize the masses to exact any kind of change, true change?
You know, Gil Scott said,
Okay.
Gil Scott, when he said the revolution will not be televised, and they asked him to explain, his explanation was basically that the revolution has to take place in the mind before it takes place in the physical. So that's why it's not going to be televised, because it has to take place mentally before anything, right?
Right.
So I think before anybody, because I ain't even trying to galvanize with the people right now on that level. You know what I mean? It's too much insanity.
Yeah, and I think, go ahead.
Yeah, but as we continue to evolve mentally, we move into a different position on this battlefield, because everything that they throw at us is designed. It can only be effective if it can find a loophole of dysfunction within us. It's almost like the concept of the enemy being your first enemy, the enemy being enemy. So it's like playing pool. In order to win at pool, you got to be able to play off of your opponent's mistakes. You know what I mean? So the more mistakes we make, you know what I mean? The more accessible it is.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But now, before we get there, we want to stay on the track of the question. So
Okay.
we was on the why. We got the freedom, both in the context. So we was
Right.
on the why. We was the public enemy number one. We know it's genocide. Why is because I like the way you summarize it. Any sentence of war, you take out the head, right? Or you take out the protector. So when they came after us, which was warfare, of course they're gonna take us out the equation, right? Take you out of the equation, leave the woman and child helpless, right? So now we got why, we got this genocide, we got why they got genocide. Now, where y'all are we tackling? What we gonna do about it, or are we move on to the next one? Because now that's another phase. Where we at?
Yeah, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about what to do, what we could do about it.
What action
We at
steps
least
we can take to
yeah,
combat it?
we should at least put forth an effort, yeah, to touch on that. Like, I think it's only right, you know what I mean? And then too, I think we've made certain achievements within our own lives. The fact that we still alive says something to the fact that we've conquered certain levels of the genocide in order to even get here.
Indeed.
So we also speaking from the perspective of what we've already accomplished and what we've already applied in order for us to even be here to have this moment. You know what I mean? Because at any given moment, when we walk down these streets, you know what I mean? It's all around us. Bottom line. So when we talk about what we can do, you know what I mean? I think that's easier. That's easy. You know what I mean? For us, in a sense, because we've been doing it. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
We've been doing it. Don't
At least
require
to
no
the degree
big
that
crazy.
we have.
Yeah, to the
Exactly.
degree that we have.
Absolutely.
It's still plenty of growth, but you know what I mean? We can talk
Absolutely.
about that.
Absolutely.
I can say for me, I mean, just to simplify it, really one of the first things is to be intelligent enough and focused enough and humble enough to learn from your experiences, your mistakes, your pain, your suffering. You peep how your enemy is thinking. You know what I mean? Just, keep an open mind and don't walk around with rosy colored glasses to the point where you're naive to what's happening around you. That's a start.
Right. So for me, I think first of all, you got to realize that you are under attack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And move accordingly. You have to have some kind of strategy when you out here. You know what I'm saying? In order just to make it safely from point A to point B. Because there's so many predators after you.
That's
You know,
major.
But personally, I was very interested to hear from Miles and Haas on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, you
definitely.
What galvanizing point is it going to take? Or is there a platform already there?
You saying like what point would it take for someone to initiate change?
For us to initiate change collectively.
I think
You say change, huh?
it's
From the condition that we're under now. I mean, we constantly under attack.
change for the better.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, change got to be for the
I
better.
think
Can't
that
get
it's
worse than
kind of
this.
like it's what my dad was saying earlier. It's hard for some people unless it's right in their face. And I think that right now, a lot of factors from like what has happened is on our front lawn. Like it's I think now, right now, at this very present moment in time, it's in people's faces. So I think, especially for younger people, it takes it being in their face. I think for them not to ignore it, because everything else is in their face. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everything else is a distraction. You're endlessly scrolling. There's something new every time you flick your thumb. You know what I'm saying?
Internet.
So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
You know? Well, for me, it's like a lot of opportunities is getting taken from us. We already don't have a lot of doors around us. You know, all the good schools and, you know, to be to go into aviation and stuff like that. You have to be out there.
Especially inner city.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not in the inner city, so.
For sure.
And it's like, we have to resort to, you know, low standards and, it's like being held back.
Right.
We always feel
Absolutely.
like we're held back.
Yeah,
from
definitely
day one.
retarded. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because we've been lied to anyway, so you just been in debt with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and everybody that done taught you something, now you looking at them like the motivators is not there no more. You like you looking at them. You've been lied to. You've been telling me lies. So
Right. We all been
you know,
hoodwinked.
now you mad at everybody. I don't know. Like,
It makes you frustrated, right?
yeah.
Make
I
you
feel
angry.
you on that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because a lot of times
Exactly.
you can't explain it, but you feel it. You know, it's right there. It's
Right,
on
right.
you.
Hey Haas, are you comfortable with speaking about your run-in with the law and how that unfolded for you and how you overcame that? I mean, briefly. I
I don't
mean,
even know if I overcame.
wow.
I don't know.
I feel you.
I can't say
It's a
if I
process.
overcame it or not. You know?
That's real.
Yeah. You know, so.
Can you give us the scenario? You mind tapping into the scenario? Cause I mean, it's such a crazy story. You know what I mean?
Alright, I got falsely arrested in like what was that, 2011 for narcotic conspiracy, and I got arrested by basically some dirty cops. No warrant, came in the house, basically kidnapped me. You know, took me to jail for 3 months and a half. I fought the case for 2 years once I reached bail or whatever. But it was a dirty cop. He wound up getting arrested while I sued him. While suing him. To make a long story short, and he wound up going to jail for 4 years, and like 6 other cops got indicted.
Damn.
At
That's
the
heavy.
end of the day.
And you're the lucky one.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that's heavy.
it's still like no money you can sue them
right.
or whatever. So money, you know, happiness
Right.
comes with. I mean, can't pay for
Your
happiness.
monetary value, exactly.
So they,
I might beg to
I was
differ about that.
traumatized by it. I'm still
Nah, I might
traumatized.
mess
I
with
don't
you.
have
Yeah.
my intermediate, my family anymore.
Right.
You know, me and my son's mother was together, along with her daughter and stuff like that. So
That was
it
one
changed
of the
all
prices.
up. It changed everything, and,
Yeah.
and financially, you know, disrupted my family.
Right.
You know, people had to pay for lawyers and
Absolutely.
stuff like that. And,
Right.
You know, it's a whole headache, man.
Yeah, heavy price.
I mean,
He got
still
caught up.
paying for that. So.
He got caught up
Right.
in a RICO charge because his last name was the same as the people they was raiding.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, that's basically. That's why.
I got so many things to say about that, man. Like,
That's crazy.
is that really his last name? Like, you know.
Yeah, it's
it's
I'm gonna
crazy,
forget a whole
man.
lot of things, man. Yeah, it was my last name matches all the other
The suspects.
co-conspirators,
Yeah.
and he
Wow.
thought we was family. And he said such and such is my dad, such and such my brother, and stuff like that.
They just gave them
And
to
you know, I
you.
just had to prove with death certificates,
Yeah.
and that basically just chopped the head off from there. When you go from the father
Yeah.
there, you ain't got to worry about the
Your
brothers and none of that.
So,
Right.
So how did I deal with these people? And at the time, I didn't have a cell phone. I was a stay-at-home father for a whole year. Just got fired from Hanneman. I got terminated. at the time, but I didn't care because I could stay home with my son
Right.
the whole first year.
Right.
You know, teach him how to walk and everything at 6-7 months. He was
Right.
running.
Right.
You know, right? So I don't
Worked
know,
on that
man.
aspect. Mm-hmm.
Well, brother, I'm glad you got through that, or you're getting through it.
I mean, so when we talk about
You know what I'm saying?
we talk about the definition of genocide, it's those type of stories that really define what genocide is. You know what I mean? Those type of stories, man. Like if you ain't going through it, if you ain't seeing somebody go through it, that's why every time we try to scream or say it or communicate it, they come back with something like all lives matter or what about black on black crime? Like, yo, the best worst thing that I heard some white people say is I could never understand racism. I say best worst thing because I'm conflicted about that, because on one hand they can understand genocide if it was applied to they peoples.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they understand it real well.
Oh, but they have already.
Right. Ain't no confusion there. But
They
then
already have.
it's like you want to say you can't apply no understanding.
Yes.
Right.
What Dr. Bobby Wright said, you know, everything is cool until race becomes a variable.
Right.
You know,
Right.
once that's in it, everything is cool, and that's the personality we dealing with. When we start talking about the personality of it, everything is cool. Then when you throw the race card, it gets whack. It gets out of whack somehow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
We making
got,
excuses.
Right. We got a standard for this.
Yeah.
Until race becomes a variable, then the standard gets all
Right.
crazy and goes haywire.
Yeah. And those type of stories that Haas got, this is what we see every day.
It's
We're
very
worse.
commonplace. It's very commonplace.
Every
Yeah,
day.
and a lot of people don't get to sue and get money.
Right.
Right. You was
Off of
fortunate in
it.
that
Yeah,
aspect.
exactly.
Absolutely.
I came in the door that way. When they had me in cuffs in the back of that seat,
Mm-hmm.
I asked them what size shoes they wore,
Mm-hmm.
and he stopped the car and they asked, one cop asked the other, well, told them what I said,
Mm-hmm.
and then when he told them what I said, they had like it was like an awkward moment,
Mhm.
like they knew they were just doing something wrong, like
Mhm.
they stopped like, oh, this boy know what he talking about, like he gonna, we
Mhm.
believe yeah, I'm gonna sue
Mhm.
y'all,
Right.
take me to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Word up.
And that's what they don't want. That's what they don't want. They like picking on people that are a lot weaker.
Absolutely.
So again, we were talking about what to do about all of this. You know what I mean? Anybody else wanted to add on to that as far as what we can do to alleviate this stress or conquer this? I don't even want to say alleviate. Yo, it's
Neutralize it at least.
it's
You
head
know?
chopping season.
That
You
is
know what I
very
mean? Now
kind.
you can
That's
take
very
that. You can take that physically, metaphysically, metamorphically, whatever you want to take it. But it's time. It's no more compromise to this, man. It's time to put a stop to this. And I think that it's happening on various levels. As they say, as above, so below. I think that as it's happening in the cosmos, as things is moving around us, so are things moving within us. So are things moving around us. You know what I mean? So I keep a machete on my windowsill. I don't plan on necessarily literally chopping somebody's head off. I don't plan on it.
I might.
Right. But maybe that ain't the right terminology. Let's just say I don't want to have to plan any further than what I'm already planning.
Yeah, let's just say everything is metaphorical. Get us out of this one, bro.
I'm going to say back to the point. Meanwhile, back at the point. You know, one of the things I agree as far as what we can do. You know, and let's just be a little cognizant of what we're talking about. Really, we're taking a broad subject matter and topic, and we kind of just summarizing it because you can't, talk about what we're going to do about genocide in about 10 to 15
You
minutes.
can't do it.
So
You
let's
can't.
just,
Ain't
let's
no
just
way.
get that
Ain't
right.
no way. Right.
So,
Right.
but one of the common things, I
Some
agree
people,
with is that, we talked about our protection on a basic level because we got a lot of incidences, especially in rural areas where a lot of folks is getting hung and they hanging themselves. That's what I've been reading, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a phenomenon with
Absolutely.
black
Right.
folks now.
Absolutely.
Come on,
They go
man.
around hanging
Absolutely.
themselves.
Come on.
How doesn't that make sense?
That's a hell of a
Right.
trick. I know we
Yeah.
magic. I know we magic. but
Yeah,
a
that's
hell
what
of
we
a
doing
trick.
now?
Right.
Yeah.
But
That's what we gonna do after we get done here.
I'm gonna hang myself.
Right.
So on that point,
I was thinking about it.
Yeah. And that's why on that point I agree. It's like we got to be more cognizant of that it's wartime. So y'all got to travel together, be a little bit more cognizant of where y'all at, what's
Absolutely.
going on in the area. Stop stop acting like it's not going on.
Yeah.
It's
Facts.
going on. So that's little stuff we can do just in general protection of ourselves, especially our females.
Yeah.
You know, and stop just acting so carefree in this thing. Don't be paranoid, but be alert. Be aware.
Let's
You know?
definitely shed some light on that. Our women, our females. Let's definitely.
Pardon self, before
Yeah.
we even go there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The second question I had.
Okay.
Oh,
But now hold up, but we dealing with what to do with this
I was-
first, so we can get that out the way. Yeah, all right, what we gonna do? All right, yeah, so we can get that out the way.
one
All
more
right.
thing on the note of what to do. I think immediately we should stop investing in banks. I think we should start keeping the money in our families, build it up, maybe start a business, and then eventually, once multiple families are doing this, we got a community. Then once multiple communities are doing this, you know what I mean, just so on and so forth.
Domino effect.
And you know, like you see Asians move to America and the whole family puts all of their money together to buy a little corner store on the corner, you know what I mean, and flourish, you know. So I think sewing up, tightening up the loose ends in the house first with family, you know what I mean, whether it be buying a property or, you know what I mean, everybody put their money together, buy a property, rent out some shit, you know what I mean, stuff like that. I
Like
think,
communal.
yeah,
Cooperative economics.
exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah. And that's where I was at, because we got the giggle with my part about the what's the name, but that's where I was headed with the economic area, because a lot of what happens is we'll deal with stuff politically, we'll deal with stuff religiously, we'll deal with stuff everywhere but economically.
Yeah, right.
Where and you're in a capitalist society, so people will say they'll talk bad about money, but then gotta go pay bills.
Right.
That's not intelligent.
Right.
So therefore, we got to start talking, just like you was talking about cooperative economics. Know where you're spending your money, then start building with that money. Excuse me. In this game, it's already evident we can do it. We did it previously. Like Wall Street, everything we get in, we can dominate.
Exactly.
So same with the economic gains. Once we deal with those things, stop being a consumer. We gotta be more a producer. Excuse me. Support one another.
Absolutely.
Start producing things. Produce what? Produce this. Almost said it. Produce the things that we need, the things that we wear. Is that work? That'll be a slight thing. Stuff that we eat. Start learning how to
Right.
produce these things as opposed to
Essentials.
just being a consumer of them. Because back to the genocide point of view, we really don't believe that's a fact. Just think about this. All of us and our group in general, and people, our group specifically, and people in general, all our life-sustaining elements are controlled by another people. You don't even know where they at. Where you get your water from, where you get your light, and I ain't talking about the switch on the wall.
Right.
All right? So they
Right.
cut off water, they cut off lights, we ain't gardening, we ain't growing nothing. So all our
Right.
life-sustaining institutions are controlled by another people. You under domination. Don't play with yourself.
Yeah.
All right, until
Absolutely.
we start controlling them. All right, we got high people in places, but we start controlling them. Then we start talking about we getting over that hump.
I gotta interject. Yo, this is Ryan Rip, one of the guys that's here behind the camera. You know
Hey
what I'm saying?
man, I
But
got
I got to
fabulous,
say
our
something.
fabulous cameraman.
Yeah, I got to say something on this one too. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all might have missed it, so I want to put it in there.
Bring it in.
For one, I think that one of the most effective things, well, a couple of the most effective things you can do is restore the morality inside the household.
Go ahead, bring it on. Bring it
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
It was next. We was going there. Come on, talk to me.
Restore the morality in the household.
That's a key figure. That's a
everything
foundation.
right there.
That's
That's
the foundation.
everything.
It's a foundation.
And that includes cultural
There you
morality.
go. There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Traditional medicines.
There you
and things
go.
Of that
Yeah.
nature,
There you
know what I'm saying?
go.
I come from an
That's
American Indian background. That's my cultural background.
Okay.
As well as African American.
Okay.
Also, I would say for the men,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, to restore a warrior society,
There you go.
trained in military tactical combat.
There you go.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
for me, if I was in power, in charge, I would give every household a fine. Like they have to pay a fine if they don't have a rifle inside their house.
Right. Some type
Absolutely.
of protection.
First Amendment rights.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know what I'm
and
saying?
then be trained in how to do it. Not just
Yeah,
this.
safety.
So
Right,
we got
right.
to provide the opportunity for the trainer, but that's key as well. And we talked about that. But to your point, I would just want to piggyback on that real quick. The moral fabric of the individual and the family. Because anytime we talked about this before, being a member of different organizations and groups, so that I'm not going to name it this time.
Right.
One of the problems and one of the issues we talked about this prior was the moral makeup of the group, how they moved in the group. And like you got a group of men and y'all supposed to be building something, but y'all using the facility just to bring your side chick or your girlfriends there and hang out, as opposed to we getting into a building. So we talking about showing men wrong morale, moral constitute, number one, then misuse of your institution, time, and money. That's another reason we be behind. But the moral fabric of the family. We all families good. We all got families, wives, children, daughters, and we all know they good amongst each other. And we could build together. Back to your point. To me, that's the foundation
everything right there.
Because off of the family, you build the nation, the community. Like
That's
you said
one of the
earlier.
biggest things
Out
we
the
lost.
community, you build a nation.
Bro, I think
You
you
know?
probably came about the closest to answering that question of
Yes.
what is the point of galvanization. You know what I'm saying? That's going to tie us all together so we can move with that energy and that force. And morality, I can't argue with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you for that.
That's it. That's
And
the
we got to
key.
hold each other to that standards, because now in the community is anything goes, and a lot of us elders then bow to the energy of the young folks in the wrong manner. They got energy in the right manner, but sometimes energy in the wrong manner, and we just let it go on without, checking stuff, thinking that it ain't gonna be cool. But in reality, they want to be checked. They want to be shown the right way if you care. First, they want to know how much you care before they care about how much you know. So if we ain't caring about it, we wasting our time. So we got to really have some energy, and they be receptive to it, just like we was. It took a minute of time. We bumped our head. How many times we talk about that? We bumped our heads out there as young men and women.
We be lying if we
and
say
then
we
later
didn't.
on, you come around. But
That's
our
right.
job is to give it and be an example. So when they do come around, now they got something to work with.
Word.
That's it. That's the
We
key.
gonna
I
call
don't
this
even
man
really
the king of
think-
segways over here.
Yeah.
So that actually goes right into my next question. Like,
Let's go.
I think it was you, Dred, that spoke on the absence of the black man or the extraction of the black man from
Right.
his family structure, from his community,
Right.
from his natural position in the universe.
Right.
How has that impacted us? I'll say they took away the protector, and they supplanted the protector with the nurturer. You know what I'm saying? So, what kind of impact has that had? It also ties into, unfortunately, talking about our sisters. And maybe some kind of some negative
We're
things
not
might
talking
come
about.
out.
We just gonna build and try to get some understanding.
Right. So since we're gonna jump right into our women, like I think it's important to preface anything we say with saying that we are in full agreement. I don't even think it's really something we need to defend. But if we ain't learned nothing at all, at this point we all, you talked about morale, like we all are here understand the importance of protecting our women. We all understand the need to even step it up. We all understand that our women are vulnerable, and as a result that comes with a lot of different things. Pain being one of them, anger being one of them. We understand fear being one of them. We understand that to a degree a lot of our women in our community are very upset with men in general, black men in general, because
And
of
rightfully
because
so.
of feeling unprotected, because of the disgraceful things that they have to encounter on a daily basis. And in no way, shape, or form, in no way, shape, or form can we minimize that. In fact, we have to go, just like some people have to go out of their way to understand what we're going through. Sometimes we even have to go the extra mile to even be able to wrap our brain around some of that shit that our women are going through. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we get it, man. And that's why we talking about it, because what we see a lot is black women and going against black men and black men going against black women when it's time to discuss certain issues.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't really get the opportunity to see us meet up on the same page or in the middle somewhere and really be able to discuss certain uncomfortable conversations. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we get it, man. Just like we out here facing a certain genocide, they are too. You know what I mean?
The same genocide.
The same genocide.
Right. And
You
they
know
have
what I mean?
they have to offer up their sons.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They have to raise their sons in a manner which they're not built to raise them. You can't create men. Like you can't. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we fall short. You know what I'm saying? That's where we falling short. It's a vicious thing though, man. Like you know what I mean? It's just real vicious. Like they were put in a position where there's no way for them to succeed at that. You know what I'm saying? There's no way for them to succeed at that. Having said that, sometimes the opposite side of that coin is shown as well. Their dominance in their I don't know how to say it.
It's a role reversal.
Right. Them put in that role to be dominant, to have to be dominant. You know what I'm saying? It's a recipe for disaster, man.
I just want to know. I'm just clear on. I see we circumvent to this part of the conversation. I just know how we jumped over a few things. But I'm personally, and then too, like, cause this subject really, I'm not even going to. This subject just serves its own time frame, and then we just got cue from our great engineer that it's almost time to wrap it up. So what we looking at?
What that mean? Still second?
Okay. So we got we got about 20 minutes. We got about 20 minutes.
We didn't get to the
before we wrap. Well, we ain't gonna get to a lot of
the whole conversation.
Because we're gonna do it again.
I was trying to follow it too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. A couple more times. This is the first try run.
Yeah.
But what I like to do, I want to do look like a quick rapid fire of a couple of subjects that we talked about, and that we can deal with rapidly. That ain't gonna take a whole lot of in-depth stuff. Some of it even gonna have a little humor to it in a strange way. But we'll rapid fire a couple. We got about 20 minutes left or so, and then we can conclude and talk about how we want to do it. You all right with that?
Yeah, Miles, you good?
Yeah. I think the session that's coming in moved to 6. It looks like. So.
Beautiful. All right.
Oh, really?
Okay. All right. Beautiful.
We still definitely need
some more
time.
time for all that. Yeah. So
So
let's
you
still have a
guys
little
roll?
rapid fire fun with
You
it.
gonna roll
and
it
then
out?
Go. Yeah.
All right, let's roll.
Right.
Check this out, yo. What
Round
we
2.
gonna do? What we gonna do is called rapid fire. You know what I mean? We gonna go through a bunch of subject matters, and we just gonna give it like 2 minutes apiece and run through as many subjects as we can before. You know what I mean? Time's up. Let's roll.
All right, let's go real quick. We're gonna hit a quick topic. Y'all give it your feedback. Even yay or nay, just whatever your feedback is. We're gonna wrap them up quick. We're gonna start off with the hot button, Deshaun Jackson and Nick Cannon. Right? Not so much, what's going on with it, but what's your feedback? What's your take on it? Who wants to start off?
2 minutes on the clock.
Hit
I
it.
jump in there, man. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love the platform being used that way. I love the truth being told. You know what I mean? If it hurts some people, so be it. Truth got to get out there, man. We got to start understanding who we are and where we come from.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, he should have expected. Professor Griff got him into that. He should have known.
Why they keep coming at Griff?
Professor
Griff, I'm with you, baby. I love you, Griff. I just want you to know,
I
Griff.
seen him at the Philly Lots Conference. Shout out to Professor Griff, man.
No doubt.
Good dude. I bought both of his comics. One of his comics, I bought 2 of them. One of them signed.
No doubt.
But it's been
But
people
anyway,
that have
yeah,
said
but
that.
yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, that's what you get when you got Professor Griff up there. You
Right.
want to be commercial.
You know it's gonna be hot if Griffin.
That's 2 different
it's gonna,
worlds.
the hot stuff coming.
Truth hurts.
Yeah.
Truth
Yeah.
hurts.
It didn't work out for Nick Cannon.
Nah. Yeah, you
Professor
right.
Griffin, I think it worked out more for him. I
Yeah.
think he got what he wanted out.
Well, I heard too. They say he was just
That's your
laying back
wild
too,
boy.
like okay, all right. You
He's
just kinda,
celebrating right now.
yeah.
Dre, I see what you mean, Dre. I see what you mean.
Professor Griff celebrating.
That's a
right
wild
now.
boy, man. He came up. No
Yeah,
doubt.
he came up.
Get that
All right,
back.
Miles, what you got on that?
I don't know. I mean, I talked to a couple Jewish people who told me he didn't really do anything wrong. Personally, what do I think about it? I personally want to research the topic a lot more. I hear
Right.
this a lot. I
That's
hear
dope.
about black
right.
That's dope.
Hebrews and Israelites and stuff like that.
That's right.
And I just want to look into it more before I actually decide what I think about him saying that. I didn't even really hear exactly what he did say. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Got you. All right, so what we'll do next time, outside of rapid fire, we'll go into that a little more depth.
Let me
Going
just
forward.
read this definition real quick.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
Anti-Semitic. make sure I get the whole definition. Okay, so since the last time I looked it up.
Don't tell me they changed.
Let me guess.
Okay,
It changed?
No, you know what I did? You know what I
playing,
did? I
stop
looked
playing.
up anti-Semitic.
Okay, there
That's
you
not
go.
what I meant to look up. Let's look up Semitic.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Relating to or denoting a family of languages that includes Hebrew, Arabic, and Amharic,
Right, put him on
and
2
certain
minutes. Put
ancient
him on
languages such as Phoenician and Akkadian, constituting the main subgroup of the Afro-Asiatic family.
2. Got you.
What kind of family?
Afro-Asiatic family.
So
I
I know
smell
you
imposter.
made that definition to make a point, or
Now the definition makes the point.
I agree.
Mm.
I agree.
So it says
Somebody lied.
pertaining to. Go ahead, give me that again.
All right.
So, because I'm confused then.
Relating to or denoting
Mm-hmm.
a family of languages that includes Hebrew,
Mhm.
Arabic,
Mm-hmm.
Amharic,
Mm-hmm.
and certain ancient languages such as Phoenician
Mhm.
and Akkadian,
Mhm.
constituting the main subgroup of the Afro-Asiatic family.
Okay. So why is they always act pertaining to me looks like a European type person over here somewhere which they call the Middle East, right?
Mm.
They ain't got no
That don't
afros.
sound like none of those.
They ain't got no afros.
In my opinion.
Right. And
Like Miles, I'm going to, verse myself some more on the subject because actually I want to present something. So, but of what I do understand, is that the same people we talk about?
according to this definition, the answer to that question would be no.
Okay.
According to this definition.
All right, okay.
that-
Because I didn't want to make sure I didn't say anything that was anti that. That means I would be saying something against one of you probably or your descendants, huh? Or some of you
According
folks,
to,
huh?
according to this particular definition, yeah, I would say so.
I would be
So the
inclined to
person
second
that's
that.
of that descendant said a remark, but somebody of another group said that he was being anti them, as if they claimed the definition of for themselves. There's
Yeah.
a lot of claiming been
that's
going
really
around
crazy.
this place they call America in the last 400 years anyway.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we good. That's the 2 minutes on that.
Important to note.
Like I said, I'm gonna say that later
Right.
because that's
If
some
you
funny
smart
stuff
enough,
there.
make it. If
Woo.
you bad enough, take it.
All right, let's go. Rapid fire, 2 minutes. Let's give up our.
Uh-oh.
What you think is the difference between? Well, let's preface this by saying that in our community, since social media, we have a lot of things going on where you get facts versus opinion. You know, somebody try to denote one versus the other, right? So what's going on with this movement? What's going on in general? What do y'all think in reference to what we get in our community, facts versus opinion? You know, and what's the difference? You think we get a lot of facts? We get a lot of opinions? How we moving out on that?
I think we get a lot of entertainment.
The internet.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And
much
in
of
that
that.
entertainment, that's where they spewing opinions laced with facts
Right,
here and
right,
there.
right,
you know what I mean? We get a lot of entertainment though.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of nice poetry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So hence that
I
thing,
agree.
fact check, huh?
Yeah.
That
Just like
made
a
they
whole
gave
lot
that a job.
Well, opinions don't even matter. It's just as good as talking.
Mm-hmm.
No action. You know, it's the same.
Now I think on the one
No
side
action.
that the other side of that is too, opinion is okay if you understand that it's just that.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the
Right,
dilemma. The
right.
delusion associated with the opinion.
Right. That is the actual
and the
substitute
value
for a
of the
fact.
entertainment.
Right, because if you understand that's your opinion, you know, all right, well, I like so and so, I like that, you know, over him, I like over him.
Yeah,
You
I
understand
ain't-
that?
yeah.
All right, cool. You know, but when you try to substitute that for the actual reality, that's why I think we get a problem
Yeah.
with a lot of people got going on.
That's right.
All right, rapid fire. We're going one more. Let's go with. Oh no, we ain't gonna do that.
We might need to do that
Oh
one.
yeah, I just
Let's do that one. Let's do that one.
Do that.
Let's do that one. Let's do fuck it. Let's do that one.
Alright,
Shit.
you wanna do that? One?
Yeah, we gonna do that one.
Let's see.
2 minutes.
Hold up. 2 minutes. Let's go with. Let's discuss the term. We gotta do better, right? Also, quickly, we're gonna get into this later, so don't be disparaged. The term black on black crime. We're going back to this, brothers, as a topic. So remember this rapid fire. So real quick, when they throw those two things together, because they're usually synonymous with each other. Y'all know we gotta do better. We killing each other, yada yada. And we're talking about let's set the context. We're talking about this talked in as in a response to we being killed by police and other groups. That's how we're talking about. We're not talking about, so people don't start hitting us in the head. We ain't talking about black on black crime. And no, we're talking about as a response to what's already going on, what's been lifted up, and raised on this platform.
Can I just say,
What?
I think that off the rip, those people, first of all, people like us, I think personally should be a little bit more sympathetic to anyone who is of the caliber of intelligence, or that lesser than, you know what I mean? Anyone who is that stupid to say something like that, you should
have some empathy
from,
for them.
It comes from a place of ignorance, you know what I'm
You
saying?
should have some empathy for
as a result of the position we were put in, there are just ignorant people who are not as educated as maybe someone like us. You know
That's
what I mean?
actually
So we don't
in
have to
that
be too
position.
empathetic.
So I think
We can breathe a little bit.
more so just teach them,
Right.
You
That's
sound stupid,
an
but here's
opportunity.
why. You know what I
That's
mean?
an opportunity
Yeah,
to
that,
teach.
that doesn't go off too well either.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get that. You talking about his
Try
generation,
Right,
that's
right.
a valid point.
Right. Stupid is stupid does.
Yeah, I think
Forrest Gump.
specifically in his generation, that's a valid point. Because that's an opportunity to have dialogue.
Right.
With somebody that might not be educated or
Yeah, you gonna get smarter.
lived in that environment.
Yeah.
Now, has that been we're going off of rapid fire a little bit, has that been your experience?
Yeah, a couple of times, and a lot of people are receptive to it. If I don't know. It's a lot of the times it's how you say it too. Because
Gotcha.
anyone who's that ignorant, their emotions are gonna get involved if they feel like you're coming at them, or if they feel like it's just how you say things. I mean, when I did have that experience where I brought that up to a person, I just said it calmly and just told them,
Right, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, because a lot of times that gets in the way, the emotion gets in the way.
Yeah.
And it's a touchy subject.
Yeah.
Can I say this?
Absolutely.
I grew up on Erie Avenue, and there used to be this van that used to ride around with a coffin on top. You know what I mean?
I remember
You remember
played
Paul?
the music.
Oh, don't tell me. You rode through South Philly too?
Yeah,
I
he was
knew he
around.
had to get around.
Well, if I might have been up Erie, but
It's about his business though. But then I don't know if you ever caught him. He was riding around announcing that he was going to do some shit that night. Like he do, like when the sun go down, he bring out the projector screen and start showing all the pictures that he got from gang executions in the 70s. I'm talking straight executions. He's showing this shit. Like, the genocide for real. He was about his business. How many candlelight visuals have we been to, or have we seen on the corners in our neighborhood? How many murals have we seen? Like, it's unfortunate that at a time like now we gotta defend the idea of having compassion when one of our own may, slay another one of our own. Like, the fact that we gotta defend that like we're not already sensitive. I get it because the frustration, like people losing loved ones.
Right, exactly.
So of course I get their response when they like, well, y'all protesting for that. Why you not protesting for that? And it's so much deeper than that. Like, it's not to be not. I feel I'm definitely empathetic towards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of see that as we just really, at those times, are dealing with the wrong energy. We letting the wrong energy dominate us and control our emotions, man, through our emotions. You know what I mean? And that's never really proven to be a productive method. You know what I'm saying? So, that's a heavy one there. That's a heavy one.
My thing with that is, especially the black on black piece, I'm like you said, and I agree with you, and exactly what you're saying as well. I get the argument, I get the fuss, and all that. So we're not even going there. But what I want to really touch on that, man, is these boys. The involvement. My young flamethrowers, I like to call them. Y'all out there with each other and y'all tossing it around, and then in the heat of that, it's like the end of the story is the same, right? And You know, a lot of them get involved for different reasons. I get it, not judging, been there, you know, done that. Understand times when times get hard on the boulevard and all those things, we understand all that. But now when you're talking about senseless killings, like even in everything, you should have morals or ethics and rules and how you go about doing something. So a lot of times, you know, when you caught in a crossfire or something, or you into something, you don't understand the ramifications you have on somebody else that you say you love, somebody else that you care about, be it family members, daughters, siblings, all these things. So we out here, so I get it with the families, because they talking about a lot of times these people that came up together, people that know each other, people that did X, Y, Z, and back to the moral component we was talking about earlier. Because of no moral component, we knocking each other off.
Right.
And the madness, that's the part that really, you know, angers me in a lot of those senses, because as far as crime and ethnic groups, that's just a silly argument, because any ethnic group is going to have more crimes against each other because they live in a closer proximity of each other, period, bottom line. That means more whites going to kill whites than black kill whites, more Asians going to kill Asians than other group kill Asians, because more than likely they're in the same proximity. So that's a mute argument. Excuse me, and then we start dealing with percentages. But the fact that we are doing each other and we need each other for what's going on. We talked about genocide each other and then we taking each other out. That's just a dumb, not intelligent strategy any way you look at it.
So then, like, why is that pushed then? Like, why is that reality pushed so aggressively?
What you mean?
The black on black aspect.
Oh,
of
to
the
make
crime.
up, because to make that to justify the criminal justice system, right? So they got to turn, you know, saying we killing each other, we killing them. So they want to justify, you know, the incarceration level, anything with crime attached to us, you know. That's,
Exactly.
yeah,
So I
that's
think
the
that
motive.
That's the
people.
dilemma at its root, is that those terms are often weaponized.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Used to
Absolutely.
justify
Absolutely.
the perpetuation of genocide against us. The very
Absolutely.
thing that we talking about.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I think that more people need to realize that, because, you know, back to the black man being public enemy number one, he's always going to be the apex prey.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And we got to understand that they are after us.
Yeah.
Our story proved that. You understand what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
we got to just change our way of thinking, man.
Yeah. And that's just right. So that's why they after us, we after us. You know,
Everybody
You know,
after us.
cops killing us, we killing us. You know, so the whole thing is, you know, in the end of the game, you especially cats, you out here, you got children, daughters. Who gonna protect these? If y'all, you know, who gonna protect them?
Yeah, that's a
Real
touchy
rap.
subject.
Seriously, real rap. Who
But-
gonna protect them?
And
And
no
contrary,
way.
contrary
Yeah, we
to
ain't out
popular
here.
belief, we ain't out here killing black people.
Mm-mm.
So this generalization, just generalized.
Yeah, most of my friends
perception.
ain't anyway. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
Absolutely, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
having
that's
said that, yo, the black on black thing does not nullify
No, not at all.
or even
not at all.
cloak the fact
Not at
that we
all.
are being hunted, executed daily, visually, and it's been that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
literally.
So
hunting
that doesn't cancel that out.
Yeah,
is what I'm
right.
trying to say. Like,
Absolutely.
so I hate that as
absolutely.
I hate that
As
to
a
even be
defense.
as a cross reference.
Yeah,
man. I
yeah.
can't even get with that. Like,
And then the term we got to do better. You know, that go without saying. You know, we
shit,
got to do
gotta
better in all things.
Try to
You
do
know,
better now.
It's just
Yeah.
ignorance.
Yeah.
Everybody has to do better.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not we, rather.
Right.
As black people. You know what I'm saying? The human race needs to
No,
do better.
Human
no,
race.
dog, we.
It's
Them
okay to
boys-
be selective.
Them boys right there
Well,
with the
well,
hats
ain't
on.
But see,
none
that's
that
the-
we need to do better. How about that?
Crazy.
But how about this though? How about this on some real shit?
I hope
Real
he in the
shit.
we conversation, right? Hopefully he's part of the we.
Yeah,
Right, right.
You know.
But how about
Real
this,
deal.
man? You know, that's again to me what speaks to the dynamic of just who's sitting up here, man. Their perspectives are so
Facts.
different.
Very
You know
true.
what I'm saying?
Very
Because his
true.
world is not as intimidatingly oppressive as ours was. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
And we about
you
to
got to
wind
look at
it-
it more universally. You know what I'm saying? And plus, we gonna take over anyway. So what the hell? Sure.
Right.
Mix us with anything and come out with us. We good.
So that was the rapid fire segment. We wrapped that up and
Right. So we'll just close out. You know what I mean? I definitely wanted to close out with this. Discuss the enemy in the me and how to apply knowledge of self to conquer inner chaos.
yeah, I don't know if we got time for
Real
what
quick,
we're gonna do.
rapid fire.
Okay,
Rapid
go
I ain't
ahead.
got time. I ain't
You know
even
what I
hear what you
mean?
said.
30
go ahead.
seconds.
Go
30
ahead.
seconds.
What was it? Give me enemy.
Discuss the enemy in the me and how to apply knowledge of self to conquer inner chaos.
Submit and be humble.
Here we go.
Like that.
I just smoked on the break, so I'm gonna need to reread that a couple of times.
Yeah. Discipline, discipline. Be disciplined and prepared, Be
Exactly.
disciplined, prepare yourself.
Yeah, be willing to improve upon what's already there.
Indeed.
How about being willing to acknowledge that you need improvement?
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that just goes to it really, you want to focus on our weaknesses there, and that's where it comes from, our weaknesses. If you focus on your weaknesses, then I think that'll conquer your inner chaos. I mean, if that's what we
Good deal. Good deal.
that's what we
Focus on conquering your
Indeed.
weaknesses.
Indeed.
Word, I like that. I like
Indeed.
that.
Gotta be a soldier.
I think also throwing yourselves in with the wolves, like you gotta really put yourself in every position possible to practice it and display it every time. So that way it's like a muscle, you just build it up.
Keep working it
Yeah,
out.
that's Bruce Lee philosophy.
Indeed.
Man. You been reading that Tao G?
You heard
I
me?
mean, yeah, and it's like
Indeed.
Miles, I got it to like the 10-inch punch.
So
I'm getting there, son. I'm getting there.
yeah, that Tao G
You know
King
what I
built
mean?
by Bruce Lee. So
I'm good from 10.
I mean, real quick, can we just give them a couple, maybe like some literature that they can, walk out to, get into. I bought
Or
a
you
couple
want to let them
things
know
up.
what might be coming up soon?
that?
I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, you
know,
can go ahead.
want to know?
Want, yeah.
Yeah, well, some topics might be coming up.
Yeah.
Because again, we want to go back to the
next time
the
on.
relationship.
Yeah.
I said next time.
Right. There you go, son. Next time, there you go, Bob. Next time on. Right. But, we definitely want to touch the relationship piece for sure.
And we want to bring some mothers, to the civilization,
Absolutely.
We want to bring some in so
Absolutely.
they can speak their piece as
Word.
well.
Because
That
we
would be
know there's a
wonderful.
heavy male perspective, so we're going to
Yeah.
try to bring some, feminine energy and perspective to it
Absolutely.
the best we can. Just like, the reverse, we can't, we can only do the best we can with that. We're gonna deal with the
I hope they caught that one.
we're gonna deal with the race, the Jewish issue again, racism and Jewish
Etymology. We talking about the study of words.
words.
We gonna decipher just the basic chemistry of the words. Nothing too complex.
You gonna do the etymology on Jewish?
So these some things to look for. We'll do some general subjects. We probably hit again with some rapid
We gonna
fire.
get canceled in the second episode, man.
We do some hip hop culture. We're gonna touch. We're gonna deal with some a good one got here. The word black, the word nigger, the science of melon. Right? Yeah. And then we're gonna deal with some discuss the destruction and manipulation of indigenous people worldwide, i.e. the Lone Range and Tano, Leprechaun, Tasmanian devils, and all other type of Western symbols
Wait,
in
did we?
reference to indigenous people.
Subjugating indigenous people.
Absolutely.
Tune in.
So tune in. We got a couple other things
What
that
about the
again we're gonna
enemy
touch
and
on.
enemy?
Oh, we could definitely, and as
Yeah.
well as the subjects we rapid fire and some other things we're gonna bring back to the table.
I ain't gonna rapid fire
Yup.
that one.
Right. I'm gonna just put this out there.
You
This
need
something.
big bottle of water for that one, bro.
This one of the joints I read when I was mad younger, but it definitely played a part in And I think a lot of when we talk about that Nick Cannon subject, I think this is part of what got him into trouble. Dr. Joe Pukram,
Oh yeah.
Vitamins and Minerals from A to Z.
Hmm.
But that's a good little reference book right there. I ain't gonna get too heavy into the literature. I'm gonna just do one for now. Give you that chew on it.
Right,
If you
right.
haven't already read it, it's a pretty common book, but
Yeah,
it's not so common amongst those that may not be familiar with it.
That's an ace.
Word up.
Yeah, it's an ace there. Absolutely. Yeah, and we'll definitely get into some references, with some literature as far as, backing up some.
You got that Amos Wilson over there. See,
Yeah, backing,
Yeah.
some of the things that we'll be bringing out to the table to look forward to. One of my favorites, just the title on this one is heavy, The Falsification of African Consciousness, Eurocentric History, Psychiatry, and the Politics of White Supremacy. So that's the subtitle. So we're talking about the falsification of African consciousness, how our consciousness has been falsified. We were discussing that earlier on the break, how a child is born with a blank kind of chip or a plate, and how the system or society gives us this consciousness, gives us this reality, and how this for us has been falsified. We've been given a false reality. We've been taught to work in somebody else's mind. You know the term out of your mind, and you must be in somebody else's mind, right? We've been taught to work in somebody else's reality to benefit them. How do you know? Look what it benefits.
Absolutely.
If it benefited you, then you would know it works for you. It's very simple. So we're talking about how that's been falsified through various means, Eurocentric history, psychiatry, and the politics. We talk about the politics of white supremacy. You know, the game of white supremacy and politics and how it's played. So that's some of the stuff we get into with Amos and all the other subjects, man. But it's been love. Yeah, it's been love.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Shout out to 13th Bunker Studios, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we gotta get the good brother on the other side of that camera.
Yes, sir.
Dropping jewels over there.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's
Nah,
our
both
secret-
of them. Both of them.
Yes.
That's our secret weapon. you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I see that. I see that now.
Coming back at y'all. We'll be coming back at y'all soon.
Spooked us up by the door.
Yes, indeed. Coming back at y'all soon.
No doubt.
You know.
All right, so let's give a round of applause for all our audience that's watching. Stay tuned, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We
Yes,
out.
sir.
Early.
Good work, gentlemen. Gentlemen.
Appreciate it.